What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Gyro Step podcast network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, coming to you this week with a preview of the Packers' home stretch of their schedule, which begins with a big game against the Minnesota Vikings this week at home at Lambeau Field. And to talk about all of that and more is my lovely co-host Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how you doing, buddy?
Good. It is Vikings week.
Yeah,
It's Minnesota versus Wisconsin. The fight for Paul Bunyan's axe. Right?
I don't want to invoke the Badgers onto the Packers, Jordan.
Sorry.
That's just a bad idea.
Is it funny how? Never mind. Well, let's talk about pro football. I was going
Yes,
to talk about the axe of a fake man.
that's right. Um,
Um,
this game for the Packers is one of two games that they'll face the rest of the way. The other one is against those same Minnesota Vikings in week 18, in which the team they're playing is worse than 500. That's it. The Vikings are 4-6 coming into this week. Uh, they go Vikings, Lions, Bears, Broncos, Bears, Ravens, Vikings. Ravens are 500 right now.
oh my.
Yeah, so this begins a crucial stretch for this Green Bay Packers team if they want to.
Well, it's good that they're fully formed and they know who they are and
Yeah, yeah. So before that, we have some cheeses to hand out after last week's win against the New York Giants. I got there. Don't worry about it. I definitely didn't forget it. We played on Sunday. Uh, First up is Christian Watson, 4 catches on 5 targets for 46 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Evan Williams, 9 tackles, 5 of which were solo, a game-stealing interception, and 1 PBU. Micah Parsons, 6 tackles, 1 of which were solo, 1.5 sacks, 3 QB hits, and a forced fumble to seal the game. But yeah, two game-sealing plays right there.
yeah.
Isaiah McDuffie, 11 tackles, which led all players, half a sack, and a QB hit. And then Keyshawn Nixon, 8 tackles, 2 PBUs. Who are you feeling, Jordan? Who are you wanting to give these cheeses to?
I was initially leaning more offense, but then you kind of look at it, it's like,
Nothing really stands out for them on offense in this game.
no. I mean, Jordan Love didn't have the completion percentage or like a normal offensive day. His wide receivers failed him.
Yep.
Malik Willis, I did give a thought of like, hey,
Yeah.
but it's not enough. Josh Jacobs getting hurt. Emmanuel Wilson did very well in relief. Outside of Watson, it's like there's not enough to command anything else that you mean.
No, I agree with you there.
So I would probably go Watson. My initial okay,
Give me your initial three. I'll tell you if I agree with them.
initial three from Sunday has changed. I was gonna go Watson, Parsons, McDuffie. I would probably settle on Watson, Williams,
I was down for
Parsons.
your first three
Okay,
with
then let's do that.
Watson, Parsons, McDuffie.
Let's do that.
Evan Williams is a high honor or high runner up.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, honorable mention. Thank you for getting there. Um, I just think McDuffie has been pretty solid this year, and 11 tackles, which is really good. Um, then his half a sack and a QB hit gets him over the edge.
I think the
I'm
reason
sorry.
why
Hold on. Were you gonna go Williams over McDuffie?
that
It.
was my switch from going into it tonight.
You know what?
So my before we settle, my thought was I don't know if Isaiah McDuffie will have another better game than this. I
Mm-hmm.
think we will look at this game as being his best because frankly he was really impactful making tackles.
Yeah.
Did pretty well in coverage. He had he's not perfect by any means, but like that is the kind of game that he had last year when his role got bigger
Mm-hmm.
under Halfley. that just made sense
Mm-hmm.
to me. And he like think of it like the Dolphins game last year. That was when he was pretty much all over the board
Right.
in a good way. That's why I would probably lean him. Williams getting the just like game stealing pick is a differentiator,
Yeah.
but then again, the game wasn't over.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things. It's
I
one of
think
those
we keep it
things.
as we had.
Okay,
I think we keep it as there. I was gonna switch to Williams, but I think we just keep it where we're at.
let's do it. Let's roll. Let's rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll. All right, Christian Watson, Micah Parsons, Isaiah McDuffie, your cheese earners this week.
Our charcuterie of
Don't even invoke his name. We're not talking about Bucks. We're not talking about that
what?
bad
I was just talking about
bad ringer
boards.
bad ringer writer. Um, say that 5 times fast. Some news out of 1265 Lombardi Avenue this week. Shout out me for getting the address right this week. Um, the Packers dodged a bullet with Josh Jacobs, who does not have structural damage in his knee, which he suffered on Sunday. He's considered week to week, might miss 1 week at most, being out this week against the Vikings. That's not a ruling or anything. He could play this week, but if anything, he'll be back next week against the Lions, or rather on Thursday against the Lions on Thanksgiving. Um, he had a contusion, so a knee bruise, which can't feel too good if I'm
No.
speaking candidly here. Jordan Love's non-throwing shoulder injury is considered not to be serious. Um, Brandon McManus is considered day to day per Matt LaFleur, and he is on track to kick this week, which is a whole different can of worms. I don't want to touch, but I'm ultimately going to have to. And then the good news is that Lucas Van Ness is on track to return this week against the Vikings after missing the last 5 games. Um, couldn't come any sooner. I think like their run defense has suffered without him there, and I'm hoping that with his injection back onto the line and off the edge, they can hopefully get back to being a decent run defense and not letting Tyrone Tracy run all over them every week.
It would be helpful. It certainly would be helpful, especially with a Vikings team that is not as good in that department, but Aaron Jones has plenty of motivation going against his former team.
As he does every year. I think he's been there a year now. Yeah, because it was last year. This
Second
is
season.
his second season. Yeah. He didn't do too well last year, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't have like super duper awesome games against
Mm,
the Packers. I know for sure one of them he didn't do much of anything at all. I forget what the other game was though. So, but the second time returning to Lambeau Field as a member of the Vikings, so I'm sure he hopefully gets some cheers pregame and then a flurry of boos during the middle of the game. Um, so let's dive into the most depressing part of the pod every week, and that is the injury report. Because golly, it is not good. It is not good again this week, folks. Uh, the Vikings have 5 total players on their injury report, 3 of which are actually injured. The other 2 are full participants in practice. So we'll start with the Vikings because it's much shorter. Tackle Christian Darrisaw was a full participant in their walkthrough or they didn't have practice on Wednesday, so their first practice was today. Christian Darrisaw was a DNP on Thursday with a knee injury. Guard Will Fries, their free agent signing from the Colts, was limited in practice with a knee injury. Outside linebacker Jonathan Grenard was limited with a shoulder injury. Aaron Jones, full participant with a shoulder injury, and center Ryan Kelly is in his practice window for a concussion. Um, Very weird that he had I wonder. I don't know if he was on IR for a different reason prior to that, but um,
who is it?
Ryan Kelly, their center.
Ryan Kelly.
Um, Big sigh, big breath as I go through the 18 players that the Packers have on their injury report as of Thursday. Uh, D lineman Carl Brooks has an ankle injury. He was a DMP both days. Javon Bullard has an ankle injury. He was limited both days, as was linebacker Edgar Cooper with a foot injury. as was Romeo Dobbs with a wrist injury, as was Matthew Golden with a shoulder and wrist injury. As I said, all limited in practice. Nate Hobbs has a knee injury. He was a DMP both Wednesday and Thursday. Josh Jacobs was a DMP on Wednesday and limited on Thursday with his knee injury. Jordan Love was a full participant with his left shoulder injury that we had already touched on already. Brandon McManus was also full participant with his quad injury. Bull Melton was fine on Wednesday and hurt himself in practice. He's a shoulder injury on Thursday. He's limited in practice. Also limited in practice was Keyshawn Nixon, who was sick. Micah Parsons with his pec injury. Zach Tom with a back injury. Yet Lucas Van Ness with his foot injury that we said he's coming back from. Quay Walker was a DMP both days with a neck injury. I think he was doing individual workouts today if I saw it from Robin Foskey. Christian Watson was limited in both practices with his knee injury, as was Dontavian Wicks with his calf injury. And Savion Williams has a foot injury. He was a DMP on Wednesday and upgraded to limited on Thursday. So that's a long list, Jordan. That's a very long list. They are very hampered right now. I'm I'm not worried, but like I'm kind of getting sick of this injury report. It's just constant. Like most of these guys play every week. Like obviously Christian Watson's been playing. Dante Wicks comes back last week and or last 2 weeks and such. Like Zach Tom has been playing. Mike has been playing. All these guys have been playing, right? But like there's plenty of guys on here that weren't like regular names on this list. Carl Brooks, Javon Bullard, Edrin Cooper, Romeo Dobbs, Matthew Golden. Like prior to like a couple weeks ago, Matthew Golden. But like all these guys weren't here. Bull Melton, as much as we don't want to think about his role in the on the team right now, as I don't. He hasn't, but he wasn't on the list the last few weeks. So like it's ridiculous.
Everybody's hurt.
That is a good summation of it.
Sometimes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good summation of it, Jordan.
You're welcome.
Um, alrighty, let's get into this this game with the Vikings. Division rival, a team. What's the right way to phrase this? Kind of sputtering through their season. They start JJ McCarthy week 1 against the Bears. They come back and win that game. He doesn't play so well. Week 2 against the Falcons, and I believe he finishes out that game, and then that begins his string of games being out with an ankle injury where they start Carson Wentz. They go on a they do fine with Carson Wentz. They beat the Bengals, beat the bricks off the Bengals, I should say, and then beat the Browns, and then I think JJ McCarthy came back against the Lions and they beat him then. So they're like I said, they're 4-6. He's or he's 2-3. My apologies on the season, 2-3 on the season, and it's just been not really good for them this year. Like it's Justin Jefferson's got kind of been a shell of himself, like a guy we thought to be QB proof has kind of
Mm,
been
it's a good way to put it.
yeah, he's just been average. Average for Justin Jefferson is 56 catches for 747 yards and only 2 touchdowns. So the yards have been there, but the touchdowns have not, which I think kind of is indicative of them just not really scoring that well. Like 747 yards is good for 7th in the NFL, but the touchdowns is really what they need him to be, and they just haven't been there with that. So they kind of, I don't want to say relied on Jordan Addison is not the right way to phrase that, but like he's had a decent year. I think he has 3 touchdowns, 28 catches for 412 yards. I forgive me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen TJ Hawkinson much of anything this year. 34 catches, 280 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So like he's been there, but he hasn't. But he hasn't been the tight end that he was prior to his knee injury he suffered at the hands of, I'm pretty sure, Kirby Joseph, if I'm not mistaken. A couple, 2 seasons or last was that last season? I think it was. Um, but I guess what's your current summation of the Vikings so far this season, Jordan?
Well, before I answer, another person's coming into the chat. My alter ego. You're muted.
Okay, who is that?
Uh, it's
And welcome to this alter ego.
thank you. Well, let me thank you. Call me 10.
Call you 10. Are you
Yeah,
perhaps related to 9, who is JJ McCarthy's self admitted alter ego?
I've never heard of such thing.
No?
No.
What does 10 have to say?
10 has to say, when I enter this locker room,
This is the Zoom
some
call?
this Zoom call, this waiting room. When I enter the Zoom call, I there's something that just comes over me, and it just takes over my body and my brain, and for the next 3.5 hours, I transform myself on the field to throw middling football passes.
That sounds a lot like 9.
Well, if you think about it, again, I don't know who 9 is.
You've never seen this
You
guy
think
play.
no, because I once I leave the football, it's like Severance. Once I leave, well, I don't even know if this show exists. Let me.
Did you go back up?
um, no, so I feel like the Vikings are having the season that everybody and their mother expected them to have last year.
Yes. I guess depends on your expectations of JJ McCarthy, or if you expected this kind of season from Sam Darnold.
I mean, that's the other thing is that expectations for Sam Darnold going into last year were
We're low.
quite different than what they are now, even
Right.
after he's
No,
had a couple
no,
games of
exactly.
scam Darnolds, as Bill Simmons would say. Um, I just feel like one, their defense is not the elite kind of backstop that in which like they can rely on. You know what I mean? They went on this heater last year, rode it to the end of the year, got beat up in the last game of the season, last two games or last 2 weeks of the season, and then the weird playoff game that they had to play in Arizona because of all the LA fires and just everything went wrong for them, leading them to the decision of going with JJ McCarthy. It was probably going to happen regardless of how the season went to begin with because he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're forcing him to play at a higher level of expectations than he had any right to be. I remember watching that Monday Night Football game, and it feels like honestly, I don't think this is just a JJ McCarthy thing. I think this is a Bo Nix thing. I think it's a CJ Stroud thing. This occasionally is a Jordan Love thing. It's like this isn't a lot of these quarterbacks that we put a lot of expectations on, especially in higher competitive environments when they're trying to go from bad to good to great. It like we dial it up as these teams start winning, expectations start to change. They go to the playoffs, they win divisions or whatever it is, and we expect quarterbacks to follow that trajectory. And rarely do they ever. You know what I mean? Like Jordan Love's has been a lot of injuries or inconsistencies with the O line, with his wideouts. JJ McCarthy is obviously coming off of a pretty significant injury. It wasn't like he was a highly touted quarterback, but that was because of he was coming from a very winning program, and therefore it felt like he's this guy that even with all of the doubts and questions of where he was coming out of his or where he was at in his development pre-injury going into the NFL. It wasn't like he was like slinging it everywhere. He was very shielded to a pretty significant degree of a quarterback prospect that I can kind of think of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's probably a fair evaluation of JJ McCarthy coming out of college.
And so to expect the Vikings to be this winning team and keep up what they did last year, one, I always felt like that was unrealistic. Two, they just haven't had the grace of their defense had a lot of injuries. They lost some guys that they didn't keep, like who was the safety? Cam Bynum.
Yep.
Cam Bynum, like they lost a lot. Like even as they kept most of the guys that, Blake Casper or Andrew Van Ginkel, who I believe both were hurt at various points this year,
Yep.
they still lost ingredients that made last year's defense very special. So I just think their growing pains are more understandable considering that they turned it over to a 24-year-old guy that relies on an alter ego to maybe to get one good quarter of passing
Yeah.
in. But yeah, Kevin O'Connell is not. He's a good coach. He's not just
He's a
like
great coach.
he's a great coach. But this idea of like Carson Wentz or James McCarthy or Josh Dobbs or name Sam Darnold, obviously name anybody that like he's kind of brought into the room, and it's like he's gonna do wonders.
Yeah.
It's the Brewers pitching lab or whatever it is. It's like no, it's really hard to sustain quarterback development and to do it in a way where like James McCarthy did he get hurt last year in training camp?
Yeah. No, I think it was preseason, but
So okay,
he
so he
never he
wasn't.
didn't take snaps in the regular season. It was Sam Darnold from the get
Yeah,
go.
he was. Yeah, but so he's having to do this, trying to create chemistry with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, run the offense. His own line, like the Vikings' own line, has never been, you know,
Great.
yeah, they're not purple people eaters,
No.
if you like to say that way. But I just think a lot of the things that are have plagued the Vikings seem pretty reasonable, as much as it is probably frustrating for Vikings fans.
Oh, for sure. Like I think JJ McCarthy is just having a rookie season. Like he's had ups and downs, and he's having a season that you'd expect a rookie to have because he's essentially that. Like he got to sit and watch Sam Darnold play last year, but there's a big difference between watching and looking at tape and learning kind of defenses versus actually being out there behind your line and doing it. Like I'm sure it's helped him do like make some reads and things like that, but it's not like he's having a great season. And again, he got marred by injuries already. He's only played 5 games this season, so I don't think the book's out on JJ McCarthy. He still has a long way to go in his career, but in 5 games, he has 842 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, a QBR of 26. Like it hasn't been good, and so I think like that's kind of the main thing for the Vikings right now is that they can't get anything going on offense. They're not scoring a whole lot in their games, and we look at their games. They blew up that first game against Cincinnati for 48, but since that game, they've scored 21, 21, 22, 10, 27, 19, 19. Like it's just kind of I mean since McCarthy came back, it's 27, 19, 19. It's not that good. And so you kind of just wonder what it's going to take for them to get going, and it might just be just time. And hopefully that this week isn't that for isn't that for them because I think this is a real opportunity for the Packers defense to kind of put the clamps down on JJ McCarthy, get after him, and make his life pretty tough because if he isn't making good decisions and he's throwing more interceptions than he has touchdowns, you'd hope they catch the ball this week, right? That they can put pressure on him, give him disguise like Jeff Trapley can disguise looks at the line and give him looks that he wouldn't see on tape to make him have to process those changes in real time and hopefully make a mistake.
I'm trying to think of like comparable, like a lot of the quarterbacks that they faced this year. I mean, coming off a week where they played Jameis Winston, I know he was named the starter, but he's still a veteran guy. He's seen a lot of things, if not all of the things that NFL defenses can do. Still very new to JJ McCarthy, playing at the game speed that is so different than college ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's night and day. Like this could be similar to what the Packers did to Spencer Rattler last year. I was at that Packers game and you just saw like he was not comfortable. Granted, he Spencer Rattler doesn't have Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison or TJ Hawkinson, but
No,
it the expectation should be the Packers get through and make Sunday afternoon pretty unbearable for JJ McCarthy, but
you'd hope so,
you certainly hope so.
because it's just like, again, this is a beginning part of their schedule where they really need to um kind of lock in. Like this is a one of like what sorry to babble. One of two games, the other one being the other Vikings game, that should be easier for them, which is troublesome for me because as we've talked about in pods past this season, they tend to play down to their competition. And so I would like to see them kind of come in here and really tighten the screws on JJ McCarthy and make his day a living hell. That's kind of really where I'm at here.
I would like it as well.
um, and like the thing is McCarthy is a pocket passer. He's not very mobile. He only has 82 scramble yards on the season on 9 total scrambles. And so if you can keep him in the pocket, you're gonna be able to get after him. I think.
Well, and I should say too, I know Diana Rossini was on some. I saw it through awful announcing. She's doing media rounds. I think it was for a Bears radio station when she was mentioning it, but she's talking about how there's already a question of whether JJ McCarthy is going to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings next year.
I think they have to. I don't think they can pull a Josh Rosen kind of situation where they decide that McCarthy's not good enough to go do that because I mean, looking at Tankathon right now, if I can spell Tankathon, they can't
It's
imagine
pronounced Toyotathon.
which has started. Um, I don't think the Vikings have a very high draft pick right now. They have 12.
They,
They're 4-6 and they're at 12, and the teams ahead of them stink. Like,
unless if you're going to get a quarterback that may be on the move, like a Kyler Murray
I mean,
or an Anthony Richardson,
I said Kyler 2 years ago when we started this pod. To remember, I think we talked about it with oh I
Matthew Collar.
with Matthew Collar because like he's a functional QB. He's not the best, but at least he's a filler, right? They don't have to keep swinging on guys when I kind of it's unfortunately or fortunately if you're a Packers fan, obviously what their GM had planned around is don't pay your quarterback and pay everybody else around the quarterback so you can compete. They took a swing on McCarthy and whiffed. Like, well, again, I can't say that. It's been 5 games, but like, it's looking like it's whiffing right now. Like he's on, he's looking at ball, he's looking at strikes down the middle kind of thing. So
He's taking him all right.
I don't think I think they stick with him for at least another year. Like I think it's bad process to draft a
It's
quarterback,
and
have him get injured in the preseason of his rookie year, play, get injured again, and then like expect the world this season when he's hasn't been able to get a rhythm.
and to be fair, it's all speculative. It's probably as we all know, when it comes to rumors, it's a lot of people talking, and
Right.
therefore, you know, leak sources can mean a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean directly from the organization itself.
Right.
But it does speak to whatever expectations that they had on him being able to just come in and have the machine rolling was one unreasonable for a guy coming off an ACL injury
No, it was a lot. It
who
was a lot more than that.
yeah, it was pretty gnarly. I forgot about that. But like a pretty serious knee injury recovery. Oh, and by the way, he's a redshirt rookie. Yeah, I mean, like he never played NFL football. Like I don't think he even played a preseason before he got hurt, preseason game before he got hurt last year. So yeah, like we are very quickly. We should be adapted to the fact that every quarterback is on their own timeline. Sometimes it takes a lot of years. Sometimes it takes a lot of teams in order for them to realize their potential of being even a starting quarterback. That that sounds like the bare minimum, but that's enough. You know what I mean? Like that's I guess going into this week of just like that's at least where the temperature is for 9.
Right. No, for sure. And I think like you have to expect other guys to just be themselves. Justin Jefferson just has to carry his quarterback. Like it's not Justin Jefferson's fault that JJ McCarthy can't play at an average QB level at the moment. But you just have like when he does get the ball, he just has to do um, the most with it. Frankly, like that's pretty much the uh, the the gist of it. He's had 4 drops this season according to PFF. Like that's not Justin Jefferson. Like that's just not who he is. Jordan Addison's had 5. TJ Hawkinson has had 4. Um, I'm not sure when those were, if they were as a result of JJ McCarthy's or like of JJ McCarthy passes, but like that he just can't be doing that. Of his 787 yards, almost 300 of them are after the catch, which is pretty good. So you just gotta, if you're a Vikings fan, which we're not, but we're talking a lot about them because that's who our opponent is this week. Hope that he can do anything. Otherwise, it's gonna be ugly some more. And I think that's where to transition to like how this defense can continue to play at a good level is just get after this line, right? Let Micah Parsons eat because again, JJ McCarthy's not scrambling a lot for this team. Like he's just not. Um,
No.
their tackle,
And their offensive line is banged up as you went through in that injury report.
yeah, a couple of guys on the injury report.
Ryan
Um,
Kelly,
yeah,
what a
Ryan
freeze.
Kelly. Uh, Christian Darisal's backup, Justin School, I'll say is his name.
Yeah.
According to PFF, has allowed a team high 6 sacks in only 5 games played. Um,
Ugh.
Ryan
Getting
Kelly's
schooled out
backup,
there.
Michael Jurgens, has three.
Passing the lotion.
That's what I was gonna say. Has three sacks allowed, and I'm trying to check their depth chart going back and forth. Um, Jurgens is their current starter, unless they activate Kelly off
Justin
of.
School, more like Justin Skull.
That's right. Jurgens is their current starter, unless Ryan Kelly comes back. Um,
Kelly.
Blake Brandel, their backup center to Michael Jurgens, has also allowed 3 sacks. Um, like it's just the backups allow a lot of sacks. Like Will Fries has only allowed 1 this season, and so if their line doesn't get healthy for Sunday, I think Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness can hopefully feast. Kingsley Enagbare too as well. Like you just hope that as Packers fans, and you hope that this team comes in hobbled for the sole purpose of like the backups for the Vikings have not been good. The starters have
No.
been fine. Like Will Fries has been good. Like that's one of the guys they signed in free agency to bolster this line, which hasn't really been good. Darisaw was good last year when they brought him in, if you remember correctly. They for the trade from the Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken. And so, I mean, let the edge rushers eat. Like make JJ McCarthy beat you because I think he's going to make some mistakes. And with how Micah Parsons has been playing this year, with getting a lot of pressures and is getting and muddying that pocket, I wanted to see McCarthy have to beat us. Like if he's gonna have to be scrambling around throwing on the run, so be it. I'm confident in the fact that those guys can get home, and you'd hope Keyshawn can at least hold his own against either Addison or Jefferson, whoever he's on.
I
That's the caveat. Is that again
that
we're
is the
facing
caveat.
another all star, all pro wide receiver and a pretty darn good wide receiver 2 to boot in Jordan Addison. And again, they're going to roll out 2 corners this week and not think otherwise about it.
Well, I think too, if you're the Vikings and you see the secondary, you see who will see snaps against either one of those guys. Jordan Addison, we kind of think more of like the Christian Watson type of someone who takes the top off of defense,
Yep.
scores on deep shots. Like he's primarily like that. Justin Jefferson's, can do anything. I just, I think the worst thing that can happen, and correct me if you've heard or correct me if you've heard me say this before, is if another team comes in against the Packers, plays a quick game,
Yeah.
tries to get the ball out of JJ McCarthy's hands as soon as possible, or as soon as he can. And it doesn't matter, like with Jefferson specifically, like what the Bengals were doing with Jamar Chase and Joe Flacco when he came in,
Yep.
and they embarrassed that Pittsburgh Steelers defense on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
I'm just like, we're gonna feed you the craziest target share, have like 20 catches or whatever it was,
I think it was up there. I
and
think it was 22.
it didn't matter what route he was running, like where it was on the field, behind the line of scrimmage. Like I don't think Kevin O'Connell's really like that type of game manager or like play caller. Like I think he ultimately does come from like a very similar like Shanahan type offense,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's more like the situational stuff. If you are able to move the ball around, make it into the red zone, make it short field, can someone like Keyshawn hang on with someone that is as good as Justin Jefferson? And not for nothing, this is where TJ Hawkinson, as much as it's probably been a disappointing season for him and anybody who has him in fantasy, it's like all it takes is a couple drives for the Vikings to get in scoring position, and that puts a lot of stress on Packers defense. Like we talk about this pass rush being inconsistent, Micah Parsons is still doing wonders, and it's helping win games quite literally. You know, with three of the wins this year
Mm-hmm.
coming down the wire, it feels like, but it is still like very much on his shoulders for that to happen. And I know Matt LaFleur talked about Rashawn Gary's snap count earlier this week.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to touch on that too.
Um, I don't know, like not to veer into that part of the conversation, but like there is such an idealized way that we see how this Packers team can be successful, see how they can even with their limitations or flaws, like the fact that Keyshawn Nixon, he is a good cornerback. He's just not a lockdown type guy. That's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily how this defense. This defense is successful without having that type of cornerback that we think of,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they don't force turnovers. They're not really in position to create turnovers in that sense. The turnovers that they do, I think they've easily forced more fumbles than they've had interceptions this year. Correct?
The Packers defense.
Yeah.
I think it's like 2-1 or 3-1
I
interceptions to fumbles.
That sounds right. So I don't know. Like we have that like this is how it could be, this is how it should be, yada yada yada. But nothing about how these things like how simple or how you know how what's the word beyond just saying like ideal it looks like this defense could play, like it never comes to fruition the way that we think that it will.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure you're. I don't know what you're trying to say, so I apologize. That end part there. They have 4 total interceptions. They have uh 4 fumble recoveries, so it's
So
equal.
equal.
It's equal. I don't remember 2 of those.
Which one? The pick?
No, the fumble recoveries.
I think Parsons has three fumbles. Forced, at least.
He has one, according to ESPN.
Ugh.
Um, but no, like I think you're 100% right in that the Packers need to watch out for the quick game from Justin Jefferson. Like if I'm Kevin O'Connell and I see JJ McCarthy struggling as a QB to like really do the full gamut of QB things, I'm just making Justin Jefferson run quick routes and beating Keyshawn Nixon off the line and getting those yards after catch numbers up. Because like out of his break, one of the best in the NFL, if not like top two of those guys, right? Like it's him and Jamar Chase
Yeah.
for best receivers in the NFL. And you just wonder like, yeah, two foot moves and a cut towards the middle of the field, quick pass, 3-step drop fire. That's something he can do, and that's 5-6 yards right there, no matter what, because Justin Jefferson just is that good. And so that'll be something to watch for sure. Like, is how does the secondary handle Justin Jefferson for sure? Like that's a pretty obvious thing. But like if Kevin Collins wants JJ McCarthy to like be a pure pocket passer and let plays develop and kind of have a variety of plays in his playbook, I'm not really sure that that's the recipe for success for them right now. So, alrighty, let's move on to the Packers offense and the Vikings defense because I think that's going to be what this game comes down to ultimately is is this Packers offense ready to take advantage of the sore spots in this Vikings defense, which we kind of talked about earlier, and can they put up points? Like, is this going to be a week where they score less than 13 and lose, or score more than 27 and win? Um, two stats from Peter Bukowski. The Vikings defense is 32nd in EPA per play on deep passes, and they are also 32nd in the NFL um, in middle of the field EPA. So they allow
Hmm.
the most points added over the middle and deep,
Hmm.
and they're worse in the NFL in both. And if you remember, we talked about in pods past again, like the Packers can be attacking more in the middle of the field. They did it more against the Giants. There was a lot of passes in the middle of the field, which I was really happy to see. But like as hilarious as it is, and
Against a terrible defense, just to be
against a
clear.
terrible defense, right? And as hilarious as it is, and as insane as it is to say, because I keep saying it week in and week out, this could be the Matthew Golden like breakout game. Like if they're giving up
Numac, I
that.
implore you, don't do this. Don't
Are
do this.
you talking to me?
Don't. Don't say it.
It could. They're
Don't.
32nd in
Don't.
EPA on deep
No.
passes. What
No.
does Matthew Golden do well? Beat his guy deep. And so, I
No.
mean, like between him and Christian
No.
Watson, I think one of them has a really big game this week.
I think I know who it is.
I mean, it probably will be Christian Watson and Jordan, but
Yeah.
like, is it wrong to want more? Is it wrong to want to see our rookie wide receiver, first round pick, have a
It's not
breakout
wrong.
game, especially against a team where if he can beat his guy in a similar fashion to what I just talked about Justin Jefferson, where put one foot in the ground, cut towards the middle of the field, and outrun your guy for a big gain up the middle, like on a short slant or a post route, go for it. Like I'm
That's wrong. I don't want to be right.
like I think again, this is me drinking the purple Kool-Aid. Like I want this to happen. I'm trying to manifest it to where this just should happen at some point. It's going to happen eventually. And eventually I'm going to be right. But if there's a defense for it to happen against, it's the worst one against the middle of the field and deep.
Nope. You will get a Bo Melton jet sweep and you will like it,
No, I
mister.
won't.
You
No, I
will.
won't.
He's a quarterback.
God. So, what do you think?
Um, it's we are definitely encouraged by the offense after last week. The defense, again, the Giants' defense is not good. I do think a lot of that got lost in the shuffle of just simply winning a football game that they needed to,
Yeah. Rather than
you know,
losing?
rather than losing and seeing the season kind of seeing the blood drain from my eyes of watching this Packers team. Um, I are we solely focusing on the passing attack? Or are we
Let's
including?
no, let's focus on passing right now.
Okay, I think Christian Watson is doing a lot to open it up for the offense. Is it sustainable? My answer would say no, because you know it's never truly been sustainable under Christian Watson, except for the second half of 22.
Yeah,
But I would also say he's not the same player as he has been the last couple years. Like,
I would
this
agree.
is a different. This is kind of what it felt like seeing Christian Watson, or what we kind of envisioned him going into his sophomore year, rather than kind of what it was like the last 2 years. I think a lot of
Yep.
the things the Packers, what plagued the Packers last week was can be fixed. It is correctable. Simply catching passes should be things that can be worked out.
The minimum to
Can
ask
they
for.
be? Is it enough to ask for? I don't know.
No, the minimum to ask for.
Oh, it is the minimum to ask for. Is it the minimum that we will get? I don't know. Um, but I ultimately worry that the Vikings, even with those surprising statistics and the fact that their secondary is not the same as it was last year, Cam Bynum was one of the biggest free agent losses. And it's not a shock to see Indianapolis be. They're still the one seed in the AFC, correct?
The Eagles are yes.
The Colts.
Ah, sorry. They
Got
are.
you.
Sorry, I was not paying attention.
No, it's okay.
The Colts are in fact the 3 seed in the NFC. They have 8 wins.
The Patriots.
They have
Patriots
they have
overtook
8
them.
wins to the Broncos and Patriots 9.
Oh, the never.
Broncos are a
Anyway,
crazy team, but that's not for right now.
bro, yeah, talk about a team. Literally, Bo Nix. It is insane to watch him win games after just like soiling himself for three
Soiled it.
quarters. Yeah, and seeing Adam Trout. Did you see that Broncos tight ends quote after?
Mm-mm.
He literally was talking about, if you criticize Bo Nix, then I get to come into your mom's basement and criticize. Like, it's literally, I
Well,
will.
we can't say anything. Tucker Kraft said he wants to burn down the childhood homes of his opponents. We can't say nothing.
That's different than
Nope.
people talking about how bad.
It's same but different.
I don't think it's the same.
Either
Here we
which.
go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. He said, if you're talking S about Bo online, you're a coward, absolute coward. We don't care what other people think. We know what we have in the building, and we know what he's made of, and we really don't care what people have to. The stupid pop-ups are ruining. We don't really care what people have to say. So Dragon Slayer 69 with his 7-Eleven Slurpee in his mom's basement. I don't give an S what he has to say, right? And Bo doesn't either.
Dragon Slayer 69, pretty solid Twitter name, I will say. Even
Yeah.
better gamer tag. So
Anyway, what was I talking about?
that's a great question. Cam Bynum.
Cam Bynum, yes. Even with those surprising statistics that you mentioned of the Vikings being susceptible in the middle of the field and giving up deep shots, I don't think the Packers will execute in that, because I think the Vikings will be blitzing Jordan Love. They're healthy on the line. The O line, it really is a week to week thing of like Jordan Love got thrown around a lot last week. I mean, hell, had to leave the game early.
Yep.
So if Jordan Love is upright for 70% of his snaps or higher, yeah, maybe there's a better chance that they can execute on those plays. But if Jordan Love is running around the pocket, he's holding on the ball too long, and he's waiting for people to get open, a lot of the things that the Vikings are susceptible of giving up, like, I don't think it does a lot of good for this Packers team
No.
either way.
No, absolutely not. Like I think you're right that the Vikings are going to utilize that front that they have between Jonathan Allen and Jonathan Grenard and Javon Hargrave to really.
And Van Ginkel's a
Yep.
sane blitzer if he's fully healthy.
Yep, which he is. He doesn't have an injury designation. I mean, Dallas Turner hasn't been good for them, but he's still around. He was a top edge rusher out of the draft last year. Like, if they make Jordan Love's pocket really messy and he has
Yeah.
to kind of bounce around and scramble, he's gonna be worse for wear. Like
Gonna
that's just the nature of Jordan Love. And
a
so
lot of lint in that pocket.
that's right. And so yeah, like here's to hoping that the wide receivers pick him up this week because like we didn't include Jordan Love in the cheeses, but like he had like a 93 PFF rating last week. Like his quarterbacking was very very good. He just got let down by his receivers, and like you just can't have more of those mental errors this week where you just have guys
Hitting guys in their hands,
hitting guys
like
in the hands and
routinely.
been just.
John Fitzpatrick, I'm looking at you.
Well, you can look at Romeo Dobbs too. Like it's
I'm looking
fun.
at Romeo
It's
Dobbs.
fun to pick on the guy with a funny name like John Fitzpatrick, very Irish.
I don't think it's funny.
I think
I
it's
think it's
funny.
his name.
I think it's just a funny name to say.
The
Uh,
ball fits in Patrick's hands.
it must not because he dropped it. But
Exactly.
like it's
The
it's
tongue
multiple
twister.
guys last week that had drops, and so like if they can
Yeah.
limit those drops and play like NFL players, they should win this game handily. Like they should have won the game handily last week. And so like it's official Toyotathon. This is the stretch run that we need to see from Jordan Love, and I think like last week was a good start. He played well last week, got let down by his receivers, and hopefully he can build that momentum to keep playing like that. Like he's not putting the ball in harm's way. We saw a better game plan from Matt LaFleur last week and letting him actually throw the ball down the field. And so, as it pertains to the passing game, I hope we see more of it like we did last week because as we talked about, if Josh Jacobs isn't playing, they'll have Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks as their primary rushers, and I think that'll force Matt LaFleur's hand to let them become a pass-focused offense. You guys know me; I'm a Emmanuel Wilson fan. I think he's very good. I think he's a quality backup running back. But I don't expect them to ride Emmanuel Wilson like they've ridden Josh Jacobs all of last year and this year now. And so, what does a team do when they're down to their backup running back like this? They're going to lean on Jordan Love. And I expect Emmanuel Wilson to have a decent game. Like he probably might get 60, 70 yards on the ground and maybe something through the air. I don't think he probably won't get 100 yards from scrimmage just because I think that they're going to have to establish the pass to make the run game work. Because Emmanuel Wilson, again, while good, just isn't the bell cow that Josh Jacobs is. And so I really hope that this game forces if Josh excuse me if Josh Jacobs misses, and it's not like I'm asking or hoping he misses, but I think this game matters more, or doesn't matter as much as the Thanksgiving game against the Lions. And so if
You
they
should
can,
have said as much.
huh?
You said as much.
Okay. And so like if excuse me, if
You okay?
yeah, I have something in my throat. I'm trying to get to my point
Oh,
before I,
I
before I
couldn't
clear
tell
it.
if it was a sneeze
No, I have
or
something in my throat. I'm trying to get through my point before I clear it. Um, if they can steal a game against the Vikings at home with Emmanuel Wilson as their starting quarterback to then let Josh Jacobs be 4 more days healthy before the Thanksgiving matchup, I think that's the right way to go. Especially like I said, given the lackluster secondary and defense over the middle of the field that the Vikings have, and the fact that they're at home, like they can they'll be in their own environment. Like I think this is a game for which they can lean on the rest of the season for. If they can showcase that they can lean on Jordan Love to be a pass first quarterback, obviously, and be a pass first offense, that can put them on track to be the type of offense that we've asked them to be all year long. I think it just needs to start this week.
I would like it for it to start this week.
Would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It'd be pretty cool.
Like,
But
because again, I've said it. This will be my third time saying it. This pod. This is the beginning of the home stretch. Like this is the hard part of the schedule. It wasn't the hard part of the schedule when we did the season preview, when we were looking at like, man, that the second half is really hard, but it's not like they've got some easy ones in there with the
well,
Bears. I think,
I'll
well,
push back a little bit. I think the fact
the
that they have
games
so
flopped.
many games swapped, but they
Which
had
games were hard flopped?
yes,
Like
but a
they
lot of those games that got swapped were non-divisional games. Like we knew that the fact that their second half was,
hard starting with the
excuse me,
Eagles game.
5 out of 6 um division games were going to be played in the second half, like
Right.
last 8 to 9 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like that was inherently going to be hard. But yeah, the fact that it just makes it that much more frustrating that they let,
A few of these get away,
yeah, to say the
to say the
least.
least, right? But like coming into the year, you thought the Vikings would be like I know you didn't, but like general consensus was that the Vikings kind of were like you'd imagine they were gonna kind of keep pace with how they were, even if they did take a step back from 14 wins last year. Um,
Yeah, at the
but
same
then
time
like
though, it's
you
like,
didn't anticipate the Bears being the top of the division, having 7 wins under their belt, and lucking their way into a
no,
couple of these wins, but still having a pretty solid defense down there in Chicago. The Lions, like, were going to be a problem. The Broncos were going to be a problem. The Ravens are still going to be a problem. But like, the Ravens are 5-5. They're going to be fighting for their life come week 17 when we play them at home. So like that's going to be
yeah,
a hard game in a different way kind of thing. The Broncos might rest players with 4 games to go. That's obviously a joke, but like they're on
but
track
you're
to
not
be
wrong.
they're on track to win the division in the next. They're 4 games up on the Chiefs, so in the next 3 weeks they can clinch the division,
Yeah,
depending on where the Chargers are at and everything. But regardless of all that point, like this is a hard stretch for the Packers. This is kind of like what we saw um from the Eagles last year. Like the Eagles went on an incredible run to end their season last year. Like they
they were
I
2-2 and they finished
they no
what,
yeah they were 2-2, went into their week 5 bye, ripped off
13-4,
yeah ripped
or
off
no, 14-3, and they obviously won the Super Bowl.
yeah they ripped off uh, 9 straight wins, no 10 straight wins they ripped off, um to then lose against Washington on that last second touchdown and then win against Dallas and New York in their last 2 weeks. But like for them, things weren't good the first 4 weeks of the season. They were 2-2. They lost to Atlanta, a bad Atlanta team, and Tampa, who ended up going in the playoffs. But like throughout there, it was never really super duper. It was just they had Saquon Barkley kind of leading the way the rest of the way, but they found themselves during that stretch, like during this stretch. Now it's time for the Packers to do the same. They can't do it as long as the Eagles would have because it's just later in the season. But like, it's not uncommon, and I'm this is beside the point. I'm getting real sick of the 2010 comparisons. I'm guilty of it from earlier in the season, but
For the
for the
Packers.
Packers, like everything pointing to the 2010 season with Jordan Love being 27 during week 13 or something. Packers had 32% of their guys on the injury report in that season, and that's what this week is for the
Wait, people
Packers.
are doing that?
Yes, I think it was like Nagler or somebody.
Get.
At that point, it's probably tongue in cheek, but I don't even like care that it's tongue in cheek anymore.
Ten's coming out. Ten's coming out.
Ten's coming out,
Ten's coming out.
but like
Ugh.
to the point. Also,
Look, can we just
also,
be
also, also,
normal?
also,
Can we
also,
just
also,
be
also, also,
normal?
also, also, also. Again, I'm guilty of it too, so I can't bitch too much. Packers had a guy come off of IR with fresh legs to take over and have a stretch run with the team. That was James Starks in 2010, and now people are like Marshawn Lloyd or
Get the fuck out of here.
I know, I know, but like
Just be normal. Let's
correct,
enjoy sports
correct.
and not have to win. Oh my
It's
god.
wish
I'm
cash.
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's wish casting
Because it
at
happened
its
before means
finest.
it's going to happen again, right?
That's right.
It's like, no.
That's right. But like
Oh my
again,
god.
to be the person I'm complaining about. Like, we've seen it happen with past versions of the Packers. Obviously, it's Aaron Rodgers led. I mean, even the 2022 season or 2023 season with Jordan Love, they can find their identity late and make this run and win games. Like, if they win, if they rip off, let's see, going back to their schedule here. If the Packers go over the next, let's see here, 7 games, and they rip off 6 wins, we're going to feel great. We are going to feel fantastic going into
Yeah,
the playoffs.
I agree.
And like it again, it starts this week. Let's bookend this run with wins against the Vikings, bringing some momentum to the playoffs.
I agree. I agree. I just get I this is incredibly contradictory of someone who wrote a book about history and how things mirror each other. So I get it. I get it. I get it. But it is just like, what are we doing? Just enjoy, like, whatever, whatever, whatever. It's a lot of straw man stuff, but it is just bothering me of like, we just root for our teams and that's all that matters sometimes when it's like, whatever, whatever. 10's out.
All right, Jordan, players to watch.
Players to watch, numbers to watch.
No. You can't put 9 as your player to watch. You can't do it. I won't allow it.
I heard the new Knives Out movie, Wake Up Dead Man, is about J.J. McCarthy when this Packers pass rush gets after him. Um, quite honestly, it will be J.J. McCarthy because I have not watched the Vikings in a bit. I'm very curious to see how this unfolds. The Monday Night Football Bears game in Week 1 was um, insane.
Such bad football until
It
it
is
wasn't.
insane that they won that game. Um, yeah, I just want to see how he'll do against this Packers pass rush. I want to see him how frustrated Justin Jefferson could potentially be. Um, also, his first time in Lambeau, I'm sure he'll probably have some comments about it after the game if they win.
Speaking of improbable wins during your spiel you just had, I had a segue there. The Bills lost to the Texans, which is kind of crazy.
Mm,
Texans were very good. They have a very good defense, but Josh Allen was sacked 8 times.
yikes!
Yikes!
The AFC is
A bloodbath.
emphasis on blood.
You're gonna have to expand on that. I'm not gonna let you get away with it.
Just saying because I don't think a bath is pleasing. I don't think a bloodbath is.
Okay, fine, fine,
I don't know.
fine.
This is we're going longer than we need to be, but we're punchy. It's late. I truly do not know who's coming out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh God, no.
It's not going to be the Chiefs. I don't think they make the playoffs. I think
They're
they're
not in the
done.
position to.
I think
They have to win
the
out with
life of a showgirl,
some help. They legit have
a
to win
lot of
out.
help.
They legit have to win out with help because they have all the bad tiebreakers. Like
Yeah,
they don't have it over the Jaguars. They don't have it over the
they would have to win the division,
which they're not
which
going to.
is impossible.
Well, it's not impossible, but it's improbable to say the least. To for some reason talk about the Chiefs. They are currently sitting in the 9 seed, and they do not have the tiebreaker over the Texans, Bills, and I think Jaguars. Did they face the
Yikes!
Texans? No, they have. Oh no, they haven't played the Bills yet. But the oh no, they
They did
lost.
play the
Yeah,
Bulls and they
they lost to the
lost.
Bills and lost to the Jaguars. So those are the two. Oh, and they yeah the two main tiebreakers they'd have to um, get through. So um, yeah, it'll be tough sledding for them for sure. I mean, even like the Broncos are 1, the Chargers are 6. That's 7-4. Like it's gonna be hard for them to get into the playoffs. Yeah, the playoff teams right now. This is a great point, Jordan. The playoff teams right now for the AFC are the Broncos, the Patriots, the Colts, the Steelers, the Bills, the Chargers, and the Jaguars.
Ugh,
I don't know who comes out of that. That's gross.
that's very gross.
Alrighty, to get back to Packers related things. My player to watch is pretty obvious. It's Justin Jefferson. Like he is
Jay Jetta,
Jay Jettas. He is the star of this team, and
Volkswagen.
he is the straw that stirs that offense's drink. If he's not going, I don't think this team has a lot of success. So, in a similar fashion, my uh, player to watch is going to be Christian Watson. Like I want him and or Matthew Golden. Pick your burner to have a great game. They need it. Big yards, big touchdowns, big receptions. Let's see one of these guys break out.
I'm gonna go unconventional. I'm gonna go a little off the beaten path. I'm gonna go Rashawn Gary. We didn't really touch on it.
No, we
Uh,
didn't. I had some stuff about it. Do you want to talk about it now briefly?
yeah, let's talk about it.
He's not playing a lot.
What was the number 38 out of
If I can find,
64 potential snaps against the Giants?
I gotta pull up our DMs quick, and I'll find it. But it's not a lot. He has
Or direct McCarthy's?
our direct or what? So Matt Schneidman, Matt LaFleur
Or
said
direct
Rashawn
nines?
Gary only played 39 to 72 snaps on Sunday because of a couple reasons. One, he's never been a high snap count guy. Uh, Two, it's a product of how the game went. Three, Kingsley Eddingbar was earning more snaps. Um, yeah, it's not great. Keith in the Discord, join the Discord if you want to have talk about all things Packers, Bucks, and Brewers with some fellow fans. Keith in the Discord had mentioned that this is his third highest snap count in his career. Like he's playing more snaps, the third highest snaps in his career this season, and even then,
Yes.
it's not a lot. And so, like, if you're getting paid 24 million a year and you're the 13th highest edge rusher, you just have to be playing more. And if he's hurt, that's one thing. But like, I doubt they'd hide an injury because they've got 18 damn players on the injury report. So like, I don't know if he's injured, and if he's out of shape, like that's a problem. Like you are a professional athlete, you need to be in shape to be rushing the passer often, especially when you're opposite of Micah Parsons and your role is one easier than it was in previous years. Two, more important that you're leveraging that ease. So, I mean, I like your pick for player to watch in Rashawn Gary because like he's been good this year. This isn't a like poo poo Rashawn Gary
No.
segment. It's a you've been really good. Here's us wishing you to be better and playing more and capitalizing on that leverage that you're getting from Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I think that's it. He's in a little bit of a swoon, but it is. I don't think it's an injury thing. I think one, there's definitely rotation. There's definitely Kingsley Bar. I mean, it's fascinating to me as someone that Kingsley Barry was thought of to be a trade deadline candidate before that passed, and eclipsing Rashawn Gary and snaps in a game is interesting, to say the least. Again, big sources. Who knows what that means? Um, or who knows what? It doesn't matter. Everybody knows my point. I just think the snap count discussion, if there is any, all that it can be alleviated if Rashawn Gary gets out there and has a couple snacks, has a couple sacks, has
Shout out Snacks Harrison.
yes, exactly. Former Packer, um, just has a good game, forces James McCarthy to go on the ground,
Yeah,
tackles him, does all the things that Rashawn Gary
known to
can
do.
do and is capable of doing. And I think whereas Michael Parsons, it has increasingly felt like he is the pass rush, he is the guy that finishes sacks. Rashawn Gary, we've seen like earlier in the year, be able to feast on the gravity that Mike Parsons creates. If you're doing that with a banged up offensive line that like the Vikings have, that seems like good news for Rashawn Gary. But I think the ultimate part of the snap count discussion is that it just goes to rotations and who guys are feeling or like how it ultimately is selected on who's going to be on passing downs, and maybe that's a game plan thing. Yeah, I mean, like the fact that the Giants essentially fired their OC, or sorry, fired their head coach, promoted their OC to take over head coach, and the Packers are probably reacting to, you know, it's not necessarily who knows what they're putting out on the field and wiping the slate clean. That's obviously contextual to why he saw fewer snaps than he did previously, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. It all can go away if Rashawn Gary goes out and feasts on this Vikings offensive line.
Exactly. Exactly. Score predictions. I'm going Packers 29, Vikings 20. Packers get 20-9 via a missed extra point by Brandon McManus.
I don't. I really don't have a good feeling about this game. I don't know why.
It's the same reason we don't feel good about them the last. Anytime they face a less than average team, they don't rise to the occasion. I mean, look at the Giants game. That game was not one handedly.
No, it came down to the
Right.
final minute.
And the Giants are worse than the Vikings by a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a pessimist.
Boo. Why don't you go piss
Not
mist?
pessimist. Oh God, if I wish. What?
It
It's
is.
too late to apologize. Um, I'm gonna go Vikings 23, Packers 19.
By Packers logic, they actually can't win that game or lose that game. They didn't. They scored more than 13. Sorry.
That's true. Well, and if
Sorry.
you look at the 2010 schedule,
Shut up. Nope.
this
We gotta go.
loss
Nope. Nope.
will mirror.
No.
Continue.
That's it. We're done. Thank you all for listening. A bit of a programming note. With the holidays coming up, this Sunday, Jordan is going to be taking over the Vikings post game recap. The man that just predicted that they would lose. Either will be a solo pod or he'll get one of our lovely GSPN colleagues to fill in for me. And then for the Thanksgiving game, I'll be doing a solo pod as I am traveling to see family. Um, that one will be a solo pod. You get to hear my, I don't want to say nasally, my guttural,
Dulcet tones.
my guttural toned voice after regurgitating all of
Mm,
my meal as I overeat and stuff my face full of Thanksgiving food. It also
turkey
might come
fan.
out Friday afternoon and after I record Friday morning. So a bit
Yeah.
grace of when I record. If I have time on Thanksgiving evening, I will do so. Otherwise, it will be out when it's out. So appreciate you guys all understanding and listening as always. Uh, Thank you, Jordan, and I will talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.